Some of it is due to the drought.
Excuse me?
Some of it is due to the drought. Some of it is due to the excessive heat. But the leaves are changing in the great state of West Virginia. The fall leaves have arrived here in the middle of September. And in case you didn't know, it's really, really football time now.
You mean it wasn't before?
The precursor, the pre-part of football, the appetizer. On Saturday inside Milan Puskar Stadium, the entree begins to be served. Why? Because you can start over after the appetizer round. It's the main attraction. It's Big 12 Conference play, and it starts for West Virginia and the Jayhawks of Kansas. And this is Three Guys Before the Game, episode number 576. I had to circle back here. I didn't really know where I was going when I started.
But you brought it around.
You helped me out. You kind of, you kind of guided me. Hoppy's here. He got a ball cap on that people are raving about. Look at that bad boy right there. Little Three Guys.
I had to bend. I can't go like G Green. You know how G Green goes with the
flat
brim? I don't think I can do that.
Bit. Yeah, that's fine. Senator.
Thank you, Brad, for the hat, for the lid.
Well, I'm just glad you're wearing it. You looked at me like I had four heads when I wore mine in a couple weeks ago. I'm glad you've quickly adapted to the dress code on this podcast. Very well done.
We'll talk more about the hat in a bit. First thing I want to tell you is that we're unable to do this program if it wasn't for our super awesome sponsors. Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Comax Business Systems. Visit them at comaxwv.com. By Gomart. Get a Gomart Rewards card. Do it off of their app. Do it off of their website, gomart.com. But here's all I want to tell you. You save immediately on food and fuel. And going to Gomart this week, get some of our brand new Connection 304 beer. It's available, of course, at the Flatwoods Epicenter, plus other Gomart locations. If they don't have it when you get there, sit down on the floor.
No, don't
do that.
And say it's a sit-in and you're not leaving.
No, do that, you can ask. I should have checked yesterday. I was there getting gas yesterday.
You didn't ask?
Huh?
You didn't check?
Well, I didn't go in because you guys shamed me for going in last time and yelling about those Reese peanut butter cups.
Well,
so
you
now
just
I just
walked
thought,
in.
I'll
You just
stay
walked in
outside,
and go.
get my gas, and I'll leave so you guys don't yell at me.
Well, if you were nicer to the people there.
I was nice. They were great. I thought I was very hospitable as well. We had a great conversation.
Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Three Guys also brought to us by, Tudor's Biscuit World. Apparently, there are people questioning our ability to eat the two Mountaineer biscuits. I got a text in here a little bit later. I forget whether he says he's done it or he can do it or he will do it.
I understand the questioning of that. I get it. I'm starting to question myself as well. They are big.
You crushed that one we brought in on Sunday.
Tasty.
Like
Three Guys
right
also
now.
brought to us by Conley CPA Group. Stats on spreads on stats coming up, providing value beyond numbers. That's the Conley CPA Group. Okay, court's in session. Thanks for being with us. We're not totally over 100% what happened last Saturday, losing the heartbreaker to Pitt, but at the same time, nothing stops.
So it doesn't stand still.
No, it doesn't. Never has stood still, and so you got to play the next one. So you better move on because you're not going to get dividends for being bummed out.
Steve Miller, time keeps on ticking into
the future. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Heard a story this week that relates to that.
Excuse me?
Well, I heard a story.
That song?
No.
Time?
That relates to the time keeps on moving. You got to keep going. You don't have any other choice. You got to keep going. You want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Involves a young Kobe Bryant.
Which Kobe? The one that plays for Kansas at corner or the...
Excellent question given this week, but no, the original.
Okay.
So Kobe missed some shots in a playoff game late in the game, like multiple shots to win the game. Missed the shot early in his career. So afterwards, he was over on the bench and hanging his head, and he was in thought, and he got done, came back and went to the interview session, and the first question was asked, how bad do you feel for missing those shots? Could have won the game if you made the shots. Mm-hmm. And he says back to the questioner, says, what does feel have anything to do with it? How I feel, what's that have to do with anything? He said, I know why I missed the shots. I'm going to get back in the gym tomorrow and fix what didn't happen today. I will get that fixed. So the next time it comes up, the next time I get that shot, I'm going to hit it. Feeling has nothing to do with it. The only thing that matters is that I get it fixed. I thought that was a pretty appropriate time to hear that because I think that applies to West Virginia's football team. Fans, not so much, because you're going to feel it and you're going to be emotional. Setbacks are emotional.
Yes.
Right? In anything we do in life, when you face a setback, it's emotional. But when you're the team in this situation, you only have one choice. That's to get back to work, and you got to try and fix it. And you got to fix it fast, because starting Saturday and continuing for the next few games, you have got real challenges in front of you. So I thought that was an appropriate story that I just happened to hear this week.
It absolutely fits.
Yeah.
You can't, you want to be emotional in the game, but you can't afford to be overly emotional.
I thought you were going to come out with some more lyrics. I thought you were going to go, you can't always get what you want, Rolling Stones.
But sometimes.
Or you go Bob Dylan.
You just might find you get what you need.
Or you go Bob Dylan, you go, you can't lose nothing when you ain't got nothing at all.
That's not exactly
I know,
it,
it's a paraphrase that. You can't lose. What's this? What's the line?
You got nothing. You got nothing.
Guys, anyway, this is a heck of a high stakes matchup for week 4 of the season for two teams that come in very mirror images of each other. Disappointed, desperation on both sides. This has a November type feel to it in terms of who needs to get a win. It's both of these programs.
Brad, I was just thinking about that you have a game in mid-September where you have two teams, each underachieving so far, and a lot is at stake. You're right. It has a November feel to it because somebody's going to come out of this thing. Both teams are going to walk in. One of them's going to limp back. Yeah. Both of them. So it's whoever loses is going to be in a bad situation. HOO, Hoppy's obvious observations. And Tony, you mentioned the conference schedule, and that's true. So it's all ahead of you starting the conference schedule, but you got to play better, okay? Starting the conference schedule can be a fresh start, but West Virginia has to play better in order to be successful in that conference schedule starting Saturday. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and what's wild about this with these two teams that are so desperate for a win, there's like two glaring weaknesses on one on each team, and they're going against each other.
Yeah.
West Virginia's struggling pass defense, we'll get into some of those numbers, going against a Kansas offense, and Jalen Daniels in particular, that's having a whale of a problem completing passes to his own team and throwing a ton of picks. And there's a lot of nuance off of both of those things, but those are the two big storylines here. Can West Virginia fix its pass defense? Can Kansas fix its inability to keep the football? It's turning it over at an unbelievable clip. And that's, to me, that's where this story starts. Two massive areas of weakness through 3 games for each team. Which one performs this week?
Oftentimes you talk about strength on strength. This is weakness on weakness, right? Yeah. So Daniels has thrown 6 picks. West Virginia's defensive pass defense struggles well documented. Brad, so there's 2 parts to an interception, right? The throwing of the interception. What's the other part?
You got to catch it.
Got to catch it.
Yeah.
So West Virginia's got to. If Daniels is going to continue to throw interceptable balls, and you'll probably have some stats on that, then West Virginia's got to do its part defensively,
which it hasn't to this point.
Right, exactly.
Not only has the coverage been lacking, but balls that there's been opportunities to pick them, and you just haven't picked them. So the Kansas side of it looks at this and says, "Listen, Jalen Daniels was preseason player of the year in this league." Still a dynamic runner. We'll get to that as well. But really struggling to throw it. So is that a couple of bad games with some bad throws? Is it a total now lack of confidence that'll carry over? Is it something that's pretty fixable? Because you go through the rest of Kansas's stuff, they should really be 3-0. You can point to one thing with them, and that's those interceptions. Yeah. West Virginia's feels a little harder to fix. You're hearing Neil talk about new players getting inserted in there in the defensive backfield as we're into week 4. And already talking about more guys getting opportunity. You go to the Kansas side when they're talking about Jalen Daniels, Lance Leipold has said, quote, and I'm quoting, "It's a fragile situation regarding Daniels." So that seems like, well, maybe that's an ongoing issue. Can you get a pick early and continue the slide? He throws a pick early. Does he get pulled? There's been a lot of talk out in Kansas this week. Is he the right quarterback? Should you go to your backup? It's amazing how these storylines for the two teams parallel each other, but in different categories.
The line from Bob Dylan was, "When you ain't got nothing, you got nothing at all."
Oh, okay, I stand corrected.
No, but I didn't. I butchered it anyway. But no, to your point, Brad, here's what's interesting. So is Jalen Daniels watching tape this week of West Virginia's defense and going, this is exactly what I need? And on the other side, are West Virginia's defensive backs going, oh, this is exactly.
You want to throw me a couple?
Throw me a couple of those. I'll take care. Right? Someone's getting excited right now, and someone's not going to be happy. Someone's going to leave happy. Someone's going to go like.
And it's amazing psychology experiment too, because if I'm the coach on each side of that, that's what I'm saying. If I'm West Virginia's coaches, I'm saying to these D-backs, all right, you're going to get it fixed this week. You're going to eat. He's going to throw you a couple balls. You got to pick it. He hasn't been reading the defense well. If I'm Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator for Kansas, I'm saying to Daniels, okay, here's where we get well. You're fine. You're fine. Those throws are going to find their way. You're a really good quarterback. You can throw it. You're going to have success against these guys that have been struggling against everybody. But the actual guys playing, you can say that all you want, right? You can say that all you want to Jalen Daniels. Does he believe it? Does he believe it? Or does he think, is he going, well, I mean, I hear you, coach, but I don't know. Same on the West Virginia side. I think this is an unbelievably intriguing game here.
If you're them, what would you do with Jalen Daniels?
Run
him.
I would run it.
Right. His greatest strength is that. So when he does pass it, I put him in super safe pass situations. I don't have him slinging it downfield. You take a look at where his interceptions have come from. When is it? When he's throwing heaters down. He's throwing absolute heaters down. Well, you'll get into that with your numbers.
We'll get into that because I got some interesting numbers because that is what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've been trying that.
Yeah.
That hasn't worked.
Yeah, I get it.
Lance Leipold also said this week, we need to get back to doing what Jalen does well.
Run.
You're going to get a heavy dose of running, which has also been an issue for West Virginia's defense. Quarterbacks running. Not just designed runs, but scrambling. I've got some numbers on that as well.
And to add another dimension to that, they will occasionally run off the option, which is a problem. I mean, it's not just the quarterback running, but an option. Now you got a whole assignment thing you got to worry about. So, yeah, he's very dangerous with his feet. And he was hurting. Look, he was doing that against UNLV. They should have won the UNLV game.
So everything he does well, I mean, he's basically a clone of Garrett Green, right? It's the same style of player. Guys that can hurt you with their legs, guys that can hurt you with their arms when they are on, right? That's the interesting part of this. And
so there's a parallel track there. West Virginia, and I'm not sure we've talked about it enough or as much because of the glaring troubles on defense, but West Virginia's not taking care of the ball either. Now, they're not getting takeaways, which hurts your turnover margin, obviously. Hoppy's obvious observation coming from me. Yep. You're not getting any takeaways, but West Virginia's putting the ball on the ground too much, too many fumbles, throwing too many interceptions, more so. I'll get some of those numbers as well. I mean, I got a million numbers on this, on these angles, but West Virginia's offense that really probably did enough to win the Pitt game if you get a stop,
yes,
but also just needed one more block and you get that first down, and the offense could have put that game away against Pitt. So the offense still hasn't got back to the level where it was midseason or on last year, and it's still early, so it has time to get on track. But I also think there's some defensive adjustments that teams have made. They're not letting West Virginia get over the top on them like they were. So West Virginia's having to work underneath. It's almost a Pat Mahomes defense, right? Like, okay, we know Garrett Green can throw it deep and do it well. We're not going to let you do that. You show us if you can drive the ball down the field with 10 or 11 or 12 play drives. You did that against Penn State. You did march all the way down the field, right? 3 drives of 10 plays or more, but they didn't end in touchdowns. So that was part of it. So is this West Virginia offense ready to break? Is it break out, I should say? Is it ready to break out? Is it ready to hit a couple of those big plays? Are you ready to cash in on some of those long drives against a Kansas defense that is playing well, but I think West Virginia has the ability to be the best offense that Kansas team has faced if it keeps a hold of the ball?
Getting ready for Spreads on Stats. As we record Thursday afternoon,
live,
unconfirmed reports have an armada of pontoon boats on the Mississippi River, bringing the Kansas football team toward Morgantown.
How did they get to the Mississippi?
It's a circuitous route. They've done it.
I think
they picked it up in St. Louis, somewhere around there, Missouri.
I guess you could.
Yeah, sure you could.
Head up to Iowa, pick it up too.
Yeah, you can pick it up there.
So go to the Ohio River and then go to Pittsburgh. And
so here's the question. If the